The big three, Microsoft, Nintendo, and Sony. Those are the three names that come to people's minds when they think about the gaming industry, but they weren't always the recognizable household names they are now. A few years ago, you couldn't leave your house without hearing mention of Sega, and most recently in the console department, the SEGA Dreamcast. Now the Dreamcast, although it was a very forward-thinking console with the ability to connect to the internet to play games, it just wasn't a success. The Dreamcast was actually a pretty big failure, and it caused Sega as a console competitor to step down, forever changing the industry. Ever since that date, Sega faded into a shadow of its former self. Arguably, their games have never been the same quality again, and now they basically just remake their old games for other people's consoles and devices. But with some of the recent events that have actually been happening in the console industry, I think that Sega could make an excellent comeback if they wanted to. Sega is still a multi-million-dollar company. They have the funds to get into the console war again, and they do have a reason to be reluctant, but I think that they could do it. So the current generation of Microsoft, Nintendo, and Sony, with those three companies, they've been around for over a decade now as the three big names in gaming, and Sega entering now would need them to not only do something the big three don't do, they would also have to be technologically on par, which is quite expensive, and in of itself, considering that Sony only broke even in early 2010. So with these barriers to entry, what would spur me to think that Sega could rise again? Well, they've got a lot of things that actually indicate that. For instance, Sega in 2010 filed patents for a new type of controller with their logo on it. It appears to be what the old GBA motion sensor tried to do, adding a gyroscope to the controller, and that would be an interesting hybrid between current hardcore controllers and motion gaming. If Sega did release a console, they could release a number of really great games for it, like Shenmue 3, Sonic Adventure 3, Jet Set Radio Infinity, Return to Skies of Arcadia, Sakura Wars 6, and Power Stone 2. There are a lot of franchises that could really see a return with the next console. Now, I know that the console market is extremely crowded in this day and age, and normally another competitor entering would be pretty stupid. But as I stated earlier, if they don't do something new or better than what's already established, Sega could easily fade away and become forgotten. Sega has been subject to massive layoffs recently, where they've had to basically cut down to their core franchises, their 4 core ones, and I think with a new console, that would give them the freedom once again to sort of expand and to try new things again, and to get other developers on board for their console. I think a lot of people could actually be very interested in like a Sega Dreamcast 2, or a SEGA Spectrum, which was rumored in 2012, or something else which Sega could actually do to regain its glory in the console wars. Now, with such great possibilities and unlimited amounts of conspiracy thought, Sega's time to strike is now. 2014 onward could be a great time for the company to restore its former glory, and a fourth competitor to the current generation of hardware, the PlayStation 4, the Xbox One, and the Wii U, would definitely shake things up. Basically, think about this. We've been in a general 5 to 6 year console cycle since the 80s. Now, all of a sudden, current consoles, they're not great steps up from their predecessors, and there is certainly room for another company to enter if they were to do something really groundbreaking and innovative. If, for instance, Sega was to come in with a fancy new hybrid console, that would be a flawless strategy, and I think that could get Sega back in the game yet again. I think Sega is up to something, and I don't think that a console may be coming too soon from Sega, but I think it's only a matter of time before Sega does consider the possibility of releasing another console and getting back in the console game yet again. Let me know what you think of this idea in the comments below. Maybe it's just my thoughts and my opinions, but I don't know, Sega releasing a new console, that sounds like really cool to me, and I would really be on board with that whole idea. Please be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video in the comments below though, and I will see you next time. Bye!